Welcome to another episode of The Collective Perspective. I'm here with Georgy, and we're going to be talking about brands and bars and reopening New York City. So Georgy, I think the best thing to do, man, is just give a little intro on yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Currently working with Redwood Brands as a regional account manager. I've been with Redwood Brands now for 3+ years. The brands that you might recognize from them: Starward Whiskey from Melbourne, Australia, Mr. Black from Arena, and some other brands that we've worked with that you might be familiar with: Westward Whiskey from Portland, Oregon, Green Bar from Los Angeles, Kokori, Japanese whiskey. And then we constantly have some new stuff in the works as well. We have a Stauning whiskey from Denmark, which we're launching this month.
Tell me, I mean, obviously you're out and about on the streets. What are the conversations like right now with bar owners? What's kind of the state going on with like having those conversations with bar owners as they're reopening?
It's very much a case-by-case situation, depending on where their venues are located, what kind of traction they're getting, like if they have outdoor seating. All these things are very case by case. With that said, it's from a sales perspective, it's approaching it with kitten-like hands is what I like to call it. You have to be sensitive to their needs at this point. It's like coming from working behind the bar and crafting beverage programs myself, I think that it's all about help at this point. It's been a rough 2 years for everyone, I'd say. Even for those venues that have come out for a bit stronger, they've had a tough time. It's constant adjustments, constant pivoting, and it's really about anticipating needs at this point. Some venues are open to having some conversations in terms of new menus or new placements, but others are very much not in that realm right now.
And that, it kind of leads me sort of the next question. Like, is it just because they're overwhelmed? Are they understaffed? Or they're just, I don't have time for this right now?
The industry as a whole is very much understaffed, right? I think this is the common theme that we're hearing from everybody. I get between 5 and 10 texts a week from friends and beverage directors, owners, or just people looking to help out others. There are not a lot of hospitality professionals out there right now that are looking for work. If they're in the field, they're generally employed. A lot of people have moved on from the industry, have taken the opportunity during the pandemic to pursue other ventures, be it academic or a different industry altogether. This industry, as we know, is already a very transient one.
Right.
So this just heightened it.
Wow.
So I think that's the number one thing that I'm getting back from venue owners.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question, because I was going to ask, like, what do you think buyers, owners, operators, what do they need right now? I mean, I guess is it literally just staff, or when you come in, is that literally just the only thing, or what is opening now? What are people really in need of?
Understanding, I think, from a sales perspective, it's coming in with not the typical sales mentality of I need this placement, I need this menu placement, whatever it is. It's literally anticipating the buyers or the owners or the venue management team's needs, right? Be it education, be it actual staffing. It's really just understanding what their needs are, and it's not the pre-pandemic world. We're not coming in there looking to get 100 pods and understanding that, SKUs are going to be cut down as well. This is something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Looking at some of the beverage programs that are around that some of my friends are running, they're cutting down from 50 SKUs behind the back bar to, let's say, 15 core SKUs. Because if you're not getting as much of that high touch at the bar, even though bars are open, there's no need for all those whiskeys, or there's no need for all those mezcals. You have your 2 core that you're pushing, and then you have in cocktails and you're moving through. I think it's really all about anticipating the needs and crafting your own relationship with that person that's running the program.
So it's less of rolling in, I've got this plan, I got these activations, It's more of like coming in and having that conversation with different conversation with different owners and operators and saying, what's going on? What can I do? What can I help? Less of pushing your agenda, more of understanding what they need.
Exactly. More of understanding their agenda and what their needs are, and I'm working off of that. With any brand, you could tailor your conversation to what the needs are of the buyer. I think ultimately that's where what sales actually is, right? We kind of lost sight of that at some point with all the brands that are coming to market with just getting shelf placement. It's one of the most saturated markets in the world, of course. But ultimately, it's always really about understanding what the operator's needs are, be it education, be it a simple serve for a cocktail. Right? We're not going at 7, 8 ingredient cocktails anymore at your average, BC level bar. We're talking about simple serves, 3, 4 ingredients, possibly batching, all of those things. I think the industry hit a precipice of mixology, where now we're kind of taking a step back and being like, all right, we have to focus on the basics. We have to get all these things right.
What about everyone else in general? Like, I've been out of New York for way too long. I'm itching to get back.
We miss you.
Thanks, man. Are people excited? Is it the positive attitude? Are people still scared? I mean, give it to me from bartender perspective, owner perspective, brand perspective.
There's a lot of angst. I'll say that.
Okay.
With the reopening, obviously there's a lot of optimism for the future of New York, and you see a lot of Instagram posts of New York's back, right? New York was always here. It never left. But with that said, the industry coming back, the life comes back, the arts come back, all those things that we love about it come back. And it's great to see industry hanging out with industry again, going to support each other and all of those things that we love about it. But with that also comes the angst of not knowing what's going to happen. You keep on hearing new things in the news about the Delta variant coming to town and what's going to happen in the fall, what's going to happen in the winter. That's going to affect the operation of the venue as well. You're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. So while summer right now for a lot of venues, business is up, of course, especially if they have outdoor seating, and it's pretty exciting. It's great to get some money rolling into venues and our partners for both the brands and, of course, the operations. There's still a tentativeness with the future in mind. What do we look like in the winter? What do we look like next year? And how do we kind of tackle these issues of staffing? I don't necessarily know that if that's going anywhere soon, both with bureaucratic policy and just a lack of able bodies to work at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't blame anybody. I mean, people are always like, oh, no one wants to work. It's like, do you really want to go back to this industry? It's not easy. Like, people think it's fun. Let's go bartend. Like, I did it for 20 years, man. Like, it wears on you,
Absolutely.
And you want to go rushing back to this industry that abandoned you for a year and a half. Like, I don't know. I don't really blame anybody for not rushing back when people are like, oh, these kids don't want to work. I'm like,
it's constant pivoting, not knowing what's going to happen the next day, right? It's like you look at policy in New York and across the country, and you really don't know what to expect. One day you have to-go cocktails and they're supposed to last through the year. The very next day it gets taken away, and then you have one day to get rid of all your inventory. It's just not realistic, right? And I think bureaucracy doesn't really care about what's going on the day-to-day in the industry. And that's a problem, that's a disconnect, but it's something that we deal with day to day, right? Especially in these last 2 years. And it's deterring a lot of people, like, I feel like when we were behind the bar, it was fun. It was exciting, right? It's like, I think about, 18, 19-year-old kids in college right now, and I'm like, do they really want to subject themselves to this? Do they want to have the uncertainty? No, it's pushing people away. And it's like, the professionals are still here. Those are the people that are going to show up. This is what they love to do. This is what we love to do. New people coming into the industry, definitely looking at it a little more skeptically these days, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too. Is like, before we used to just be like, oh, I'm going to go bartend. I want a part-time job so I can pursue some other stuff. I want some cash in my pocket. And now it's like, it's more headaches than it's worth. You mentioned to-go cocktails. One day you had it, the next day gone. I read that. I was like, my God, you can't even give these people like 30 days. Like, I mean, what's going, like, I feel for New York, man. I really do. It's my town. And then I see all this nonsense, and I'm like, I secretly say, I thank God I don't own a bar. To see what all these bar owners have to deal with over and over again. You said inventory. I saw someone posted, I don't know, they had like 100 cases of tequila that they were ready to go for their pre-batch to-go cocktails all summer long. And the guy was trying to get rid of it in a day. And I was like, is this real? They're planned on these to-go all summer long things, and then all of a sudden just pandemic's done, to-go's done.
Absolutely. The sourcing of the bottles, right? The canning, the artwork, all of these things. And then all of a sudden you can't sell it anymore. So let's say you're
they're sitting on it
deep in inventory in just packaging alone, and then it gets pulled from you. What do you do with all that?
What are they doing? Have you talked to anyone? Are people just pissed again?
People are very much pissed. You got to figure out what to do with that. So I guess you have to sell it on premise. You have to sell those cocktails on premise. That's the only thing you can do, right? Repurpose what you have. But it's not the first time that this happened through this pandemic. If we're talking about outdoor seating and building whole new structures outside, and then having to rebuild them 4, 5, 6 times because of regulations that are changing daily. I really feel for owners of bars and restaurants. It's been a grueling year, and a lot of people have, they've just left altogether. It's been interesting for sure. With that said, there is a lot of optimism. I don't mean to be a complete downer on it. There is a lot of optimism, and I do think that our industry is just changing. It's not the same hospitality industry that we had in 2019. We're gonna have to learn how to pivot quickly, and we've been doing that throughout the last 2 years, both on the sales side and ownership. You just kind of have to figure it out.
I mean, obviously we're reopening. Hopefully things will be going. You know me, I like events. I like tastings. I like bringing people together. What are your plans? I mean, are you guys activations, events, tastings? Are you guys rolling? Are you feeling optimistic that this is going to continue all year?
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, right? Obviously, a big part of what you do are those events, Arte Agave. And they're amazing. People love those events. They want to be around other people. Human interaction is what drives us. This is why we're in this industry. I think from the brand perspective, we're all very much itching to go, and we're hoping that it goes smoothly, but you have to be kind of tentative. For instance, BCB, right? One of the biggest events in our industry, which is coming up this fall. I personally I don't know what to expect. We're talking about the largest event in New York City for the year. I don't know what to expect from a turnout perspective, from being in a room with that many people, even though we're doing that, but we're talking about internally, ton of interaction, doing what industry does best, and that's it's a little nerve-wracking. But with that said, it's like, personally, I'm very much hoping that we're rearing to go. I'm doing tastings myself in stores in the off-premise every Thursday, Friday. I'm pouring whiskey, I'm pouring coffee liqueur, and I'm spreading the good word of Australian booze. You guys are doing that as well with Barry Collective. Thank you, man. Best in the business, I gotta say.
Thank you. I love the plug there. There you go.
Hey, you guys really are. I always feel like it's an extension of the brand and an extension of myself whenever I book an event with you guys in the off-premise. So thank you.
Do you feel like, I don't know if you get a chance to talk to other brand ambassadors from the other liquor companies, but are they allowed to be out? Are they allowed to be doing events? Are they allowed to be doing activations? Like, is each company kind of different right now, or is everyone just like, we're all allowed to do whatever we want?
I think people are out, people throughout the pandemic, there were varying degrees of how much people were interacting with accounts and what their companies were allowing them to do. But now, for the most part, especially from the supplier side, I feel that I run into people all of the time. And I've been doing some work with other brand ambassadors as well, trying to kind of provide more support for accounts together, kind of collectively stepping in, saying, what can we do for you? Which has been really uplifting to see industry from the supplier side as well and the distributor side kind of coming together and being, how can we help our accounts? So that's been really encouraging. I do think people are back out. People are working. If you are looking to work with a brand, you should definitely reach out. Everybody's willing and able. Very much so.
Are brands hiring? Like, is it all just the big brands or the smaller micro distilleries, call them whatever?
Some are, some aren't. Okay. I definitely feel like some brands have taken a step back throughout all this, just because sales were, for a lot of brands, they were hurt, right? With the loss of on-premise and the loss of our knowledgeable bartenders and the people that are brand builders. They've taken a step back. But then you have other emerging brands. A lot of bigger brands are coming along, even though they might not be perceived as bigger, but you have all the celebrity tequilas, which we're very much familiar with, and celebrity whiskeys, etc. So there's constant new players to the game. I think where some brands are going to take a step back, others are going to emerge. So if people are looking to get into the industry, it's a great time, to be honest. You could kind of make it what you want it to be right now. If you want to step in and you want to learn how to make drinks, this is the best time ever to do it. You could get behind some of the world's best bars because they're looking for staff and they will teach you.
You could probably steamroll your way to the top pretty quick right now.
A ton of growth right now, a ton of growth, you know? Like, I always say I was a B-level bartender, you know? I crafted some great drinks and I worked at some amazing venues and, you know, what I consider one of the best whiskey bars in the world, in the Flatiron Room, for Tommy Tardy, who we've actually had on this show before. So, but with that said, as a bartender, I was very much a B-level bartender, 4 or 5 ingredient cocktails, simple, crafted to make easily and to appeal to the masses is how I put it. I never dreamed that I could get behind, you know, the bar at Dead Rabbit, but if I was still bartending, I would definitely reach out to Jillian Bose right now.
Watch out, Jillian. Everyone's gonna be calling you. There's a lot of flexibility, I think, right now. If you're like, hey, I've been working at a tequila bar, I want to go to a whiskey bar right now. It's like now is your chance to really spread your wings a little bit and move up and do some cool stuff. I think, you know, to me, it's about taking chances. The playing field just got kind of leveled. Everyone was just scrapping and hustling, and there was it didn't matter. Best this, best that. Who cares? We're all in the swamp right now. I hope a lot of these bartenders that kind of started these small companies, I hope people continue to do stuff like that, because I always say, you know, bartenders are always untapped entrepreneurs just trying to figure out their way. The message, I think, to these bartenders, like, keep that hustle up, man, and keep going for something cool and new and creative, and just don't settle. Don't go back to your old job because it's comfortable. If you hated that thing, stop doing it. And if you hate this industry, like I said, I don't blame people. Like, if this industry wasn't for you, if you're not happy, get out.
Yeah, you're probably not providing that great of a service in the first place, right? Like when you walk into any establishment, leave your troubles at the door. You're there to provide a good time, right? Like same with myself as a salesperson. Just leave your stuff at the door, walk in there, have a great interaction. Like, our job is to make people feel great and help business, both ours and our partners, right? And I think with a bartender and server and anybody in the hospitality industry, managers, etc., it's very much your job as well. You are your own business. You're an entrepreneur. You're working for somebody else, but you're constantly presenting yourself and selling your product. So I think if you take that mentality and take it into something greater, be it learning, like you were saying, about agave and going to work at the cabinet, or really learning about whiskey, doing deep dive, going to Brandy Library or Fine and Rare, do it. Go learn, go take that knowledge, become greater.
So listen, man, I appreciate your time and your insight on this. I wish you the best of luck out there, man. And hopefully, man, because I have way too many festivals planned in September and October. So.
Sure, yeah. Let's just hope that it keeps on going in a positive trend. That more people get vaccinated. Yeah, that we just keep heading that way. Thanks again for having me. This was a lot of fun. And, you know, if you need help with any of your events for Barry Collective, Arte Agave, etc., I'm here to offer that hand to you. And to anybody else who needs it in the industry, but whatever you need, like, just reach out.
I appreciate it. Always love what you're doing. Thanks for always thinking of us and our staff and keeping my team employed too. So I appreciate that. And thank you.
Thanks so much, Walt.
Thanks a lot, man.